have to get my cane out to hook you. Wasn't that wonderful? We are blessed by our music that enlivens our experience of life. And talking about enlivening our lives, I would like to tell you of a dream that came true for me and for this community. I'd like to call board members forward right now. Now I'm going to ask them to pour their hearts out to you like they did on the retreat this week. No! We had, you can tell I'm wound up. We just had an amazing breakthrough with our retreat. We know each other in a deeper way. We shared our pain with one another and shared our joy and shared our intentions for this community of Unity of Fort Myers. So our vision includes a magnificent minister. So we got to be magnificent people to attract a magnificent minister. And these people have said, yes, I am willing to step into more than I dreamt possible. So I'd like to introduce, if you don't know, Marge DeWitt, who's going to serve in Cambodia for 2.5 months. And Rosie, everybody knows Rosie, who likes action. Get her done. And we're going to look at a different way of getting her done. And our dream maker, President John Reed. And our VP of Collaborative Community, Michelle Hilton Terry. And our prayerful Linda Moore. And our trusty treasurer, Bob LaFroda. And last but not least, our professor that I didn't realize, Kevin. So I just want to tell you, the plans we have for you in the next 3 months are going to be inviting you into collaborating with us. We're going to make sure that we're sharing a vision and enthusiastically serving each other by collaborating, not by getting her done, but by collaborating. Because we got enough get-her-dones in this community. We want to focus on how we build team. So thank you very much for a retreat that exceeded any dream I could have. I want to begin this morning by sharing something with you. The first morning of our retreat, at 6 o'clock in the morning, Belinda got a call that her mother had passed away. So we began our retreat by practicing what we promise to do for all of you. And that is to support you through whatever the discomfort is. So we really broke open to a new level of compassionate service and collaboration. And I'll share more about that in the future. Now, I want you all to promise me, I'm leaving tomorrow, but I'm... She is so bad, isn't she? She's tired of waiting on me hand and foot. But I'm coming back, and when I come back, it'll... Thank you. I feel your love. I really feel your love and your support. My knee's better. I'm dancing on the stage. The doctor said I didn't look 70. Woohoo! I'll do whatever he said. But I'm coming back, and my husband's going to come down too. to experience this family that we have here, this community that is magnificent, that Jim Rosemurgy put deep roots into, prayerful presence, his wife Nancy by his side, offering you all what they had to offer. So it's exciting. It's really exciting. It's funny how you set an intention and it happens, because one of the intentions we set was to join other collaborative collectives in the United Fort Myers community. And right away, the opportunity arose. And so I just encourage you, talk to Michelle. Do not dump stuff off on the church. Right, Deb? Because we're keeping that energy, we're keeping the flow of energy moving throughout this community, so we're a mighty magnet for a magnificent minister. Thank you, Bob, for coining that phrase, because it stuck. It stuck. So you know The Sixth Sense, the movie? I See Dead People? I love to see people who come alive to their life. I'm so grateful Richard is back with us after so many months. I feel his prayers every day, don't you? And our snowbirds are returning. So the snowbirds who are here, will you stand and let us appreciate your return to the nest? Okay, so in order to fully come alive to life, we gotta face obstacles, right? And I thought as I was titling this talk, wow, are you sure you want to put that out there? Because this week has been jam-packed with obstacles. It has been incredibly freeing and healing. We shifted. I don't know if you can feel it, but I can. It's right here now. And so we're going to look at roles and responsibilities. What we realized was we don't have boundaries. You guys, okay, you have a history of people saying, I'm going to get her done, I'm going to pay for it, and I'm going to do it. And that's great, but it leaves us out, the community out. So we want to really look at how do we form a collaborative community where nobody feels left out and all of us are valued for the different skills that we bring. So how do you face an obstacle? Head on? Yeah. We can push our way through it, or we can use some ease and grace and togetherness as we move through it. So facing an obstacle requires us to look at what's making us uncomfortable right now, naming it, at least to ourselves. And as we look at what's making us feel uncomfortable right now, irritated even, or heaven forbid, judgmental about something, as we look at it and name it, we open ourselves to a greater wisdom, the wisdom of the heart. And that's what happened to us this weekend on the retreat. We took time apart from the busyness of our lives to join together in meditation, to be inspired, and to be a part of the transformation, the recreation of Unity of Fort Myers. So we're going to invite you into it later this month. In inviting you into it, we're going to be very clear about our vision, our mission, and our core values. And before anybody throws up, we're going to do it a different way. Not in the head, but in our heart. It could be, it's just the same as it's been. But you know, the shift has happened. And so we need your input. We need you to be present. But we don't need to drag it out wordsmithing. Because we got people who have that skill. But we want to hear your input. What words inspire you? What words comfort you? What values do you stand upon when life gets tough? The greatest lesson I've had in life was I don't have to do it alone. Yes, I know God, but I used to just say, I'll handle it till I need you. You ever said that? I'll do it until I really need you. Well, that's kind of a silly thing to say, isn't it? It's not that we bring it upon ourselves, but if we're looking for an obstacle, we can find one. So I got some stories to share with you. Last Sunday after our lunch, I drove to Tampa to the Southeast Conference where Jim Rosemurgy was speaking Tuesday night. He was a keynote in the future of unity. There's one smart guy who's willing to partner with the leadership that is now and realizing it's going to be different than what it was. Right, Jim? And that we guts to do it together. So barking orders at people is not the way we treat volunteers. We appreciate our volunteers in a different way, in a way that honors their willingness to serve and their understanding that they are, the gift, the giving to this community is enormous. The gift that this board is giving to community has expanded exponentially. And we realize that there's some missing pieces. We got some obstacles on our path. One of the things I realize is that we need a little more structure. Because that creates some certainty for you guys, right? You seem to like me coming here for this transitional period. And I'm all the way in with you. I love you. But I'm not your magnificent minister. I'm part of your community forever. You can't get rid of me. And when you meet my husband, you'll like him too. You might even love him. I don't know. I do. So we got to look at what's disturbing us, what's irritating us, and we've got to name it. It's not negative to name it. You can't move through it till you name it. So to move through it, we have to see what we're making our story mean. What are we making this mean? We got a chattering mind that makes it mean all sorts of self-limiting thoughts, right? Or am I alone? You know, monkey mind is so busy. And we've got a courageous heart, willing to face what's right in front of us, knowing we don't have to know now. We don't have to have the game plan now. But we need each other to create some ease. We need a dream team with us. And so I feel like that I have a dream team in your board. So I invite you to get to know them at the heart level. We are going to have an opportunity to put our input into what is being decided as our structure, our procedures, and our roles. You know, what happened is the recognition that nobody had really explained it in a way that they heard what they were stepping into. They're all busy. They're all doing 100,000 different things. But when you talk about the roles of the board, you understand it with more clarity, right? Okay, all right. This is important. And then there's roles for the staff. The poor staff has been, lacking some leadership. So what did they do? They picked up the ball. And with all their heart, they kept moving forward. Well, we realized that, hey, we let that staff down. You're not going to let the staff down while I'm gone, are you? No. And the congregation has some roles and responsibilities too. And so we'll bring clarity to that. One of the things that, when we look at what we're making something mean, there is a surrender process that is vital. We've got to accept it, even if we don't want to, even if we don't know how to, even if we don't think we can, we have to accept it. And in that acceptance and willingness to just take the next step with a dream team, encouraging people to bring forward their skills, encourage teams to be forming, encourage people to contribute. Don't ever hear this, that I'm saying to those of you who are given so generously of your time and your money, have done anything but wonderful work here. But we want to expand our awareness of community, because churches are having to close their doors, sell their buildings. Congregations aren't particularly growing right now. So rather than worry about how do we get people here, I want you to show up every Sunday night. We got to go out in community and let them know who we are. Why would you want to come here? Well, I can think of 100,000 reasons, but I got to speak those reasons and show up to give people who need some help, some support. Because that's what life is about, is being generous with what we have, learning whatever lesson the obstacle is bringing to us, knowing that nothing is ever against us. It's just a thought we have that somehow something is against us. So we either evolve or we leave. Your choice. I'm hoping you'll join us in the evolution of this community, because there's wonderful things going on here. So we surrender, we give up. We say, okay. It's not a passive act. It requires more courage than you've ever expressed before in your life. It is an act of courage to surrender. And then once we surrender, we forgive. We forgive ourselves and we forgive others, and we go, okay, everybody makes mistakes, but I'm learning from this one. I'm taking this as an opportunity to grow, to rise up in my awareness of possibilities, to be in that creative field rather than the competitive field that we hang out in all day long in the world. We've got a wonderful model in Jesus as a way to be in the world and not of the world. We hear that phrase so much, and I grew up in the world, not of the world. What does that really mean? How do I practice that? To be in the world, but not of the world. It's a challenge, right? It's one of those wonderful growth opportunities. And none of us necessarily embrace challenges as the way to move through, but unity gives us deep spiritual principles that are based upon ancient wisdom traditions of knowing we're connected to one source and to each other. And the way through anything is through our heart. Our mind just gets us in trouble. Now, don't hear me that you don't use your mind, because that would be insanity, right? But some of us try that. We think compassion means giving and giving and giving and then giving again. Compassion means setting some boundaries, some accountability. Because then, when we take personal responsibility for our own growth, we reap the benefits. We are free in a way that you couldn't think your way free of it. How many of you experience that? Yeah. That's what life's all about. Learning and evolving, and knowing that we're involuting a spirit that is greater than the chatter of our mind, and found in the wisdom of our heart. So facing obstacles is our opportunity to heal and to grow. And to be clear about our authentic action. So how do we know who we're willing to be at Unity of Fort Myers? Well, that reflects our core values and how we demonstrate them. It comes out of a vision of something greater than what's here now, and it's pretty good, right? It's not a bad way to spend Sunday. And it's going on every day of the week. Every day of the week there are opportunities to learn and grow and support one another through the rough patches. Action is required. Faith without works. That always spoke to me, because I like to do. I like action. Where I'm learning is I gotta be more. I gotta be willing to be vulnerable, authentic, open, generous, and loving. And I've got to be willing to learn what setting boundaries is about, and how important it is to get that structure into community. Otherwise, we're like bees buzzing around, doing. And nobody really knows what the doing's about. So we're going to get very intentional and very clear and come from this vision of magnificent minister. Because you are a magnificent community. So rise up, join with what's going on. In November, when I come back, we'll do a membership renewal. How about that? The board thought it was a good idea. And then with the membership renewal, those of you who are new to the community and want to join in the fun and games, the prayer and possibilities, the community involvement, can join at that time. And we're going to make vision, mission, and core values fun, not a head trip. Because we spend enough time in our head. The wisdom of the heart is what will guide us forward. So, beloveds, facing obstacles is part of the game of life. It's part of growth. It's part of recreation. And recreation involves some destruction, right? We talked about that in the beginning. And destruction of existing and whatever's going on is always uncomfortable. But we got each other. So let's step forward together. My dream was standing before you with the board, united in our diversity. That feels really good to me. It's not a power trip. It's a creative process. And that's what unity principles have shown me when I practice them, which is sometimes it looks a little shaky, or even a little, really? Why would you do that? Because I love that much, that I am willing to hold a mirror to you, to say, here's what I see is alive in you. Join me in this dance of life, because it's pretty precious. And obstacles are just a part of it. So let us take this time now to center ourselves in a vision of possibilities, in a magnetic field of love, in the vision of magnificent ministry. And how will I be a part of that? As we prepare for our time of meditation, let us open our hearts in a new way, a way we haven't ever before. What we found out in our board retreat is that was incredible. The love that is released, the energy, the enthusiasm. So join me in opening your heart even more. Now I'm actually going to leave you time to do the meditation song, something I haven't often done. Thank you, Brad, for being so tolerant of me.
Oh my God.
In this sacred time of meditation and opening our hearts, we consciously, aware, look at what's making us feel maybe a little uncomfortable, or disappointed, or irritated in our life. And we know God's a part of us. So God is part of this opportunity to grow. So defensive doesn't really work for the movement of Holy Spirit through us. Just look for a moment. Allow yourself to feel uncomfortable. And in the silence, let's open ourselves to knowing God as us, here and now. Breathing deeply, surrendering to this moment. Listening. Loving. Opening our heart in a way that is undefended, for there's nothing against. God, how I love thee. Going deeper into our knowing that God is the one presence and power that allows us to create. It gives us energy to create. The vibrations of the world are for us. But we don't have to get caught up in fear. Love is the way. How we love. Not as an emotion, but as an unconditional flow of possibilities in our life. So embracing perhaps our mistakes, forgiving ourselves for actions that if we do differently today, but knowing all is well. For that is how we heal and grow. Saying, yes, yes, God, use me. And so we bring our awareness back to this space, this time, and pray together by singing